Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about honor and the value of honor. All right. In this content, there is spoilers for the film The Last Duel, 2021, starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren. And also, I believe the actress's name is Jodie Comer, right? Who plays a major role in this. This is a fantastic movie. I highly recommend it. However, I'm going to tell you right now, I am recommending you to recommending a movie to you that I've seen 2/3 of. 2/3. Right, I haven't even finished the film, but I'm recommending it. Now, why is that? I want to impress on you that this world changes so shockingly fast that you have to pay attention and you have to be ready to adapt on a moment's notice, right? I'm bringing you a review of content I haven't even finished, right? And I feel very comfortable doing that. And the reason why is we live in a world that just moves so much faster than our world moved even 5-10 years ago, right? And I really encourage you to embrace the speed and understand that that what is like YouTube is going to this issue where if you do YouTube live, which I don't do a lot of, but some very smart Dungeons and Dragons commentators do, they will massively overvalue the live content over the older content and over even something that was just recorded and put up 15 minutes ago, right? And the reason why is this world, what's valuable is what's happening now, and it changes so fast. Also, I want to just give you a quick note, right? Probably like 2-3 years ago, I would do like 20-30 videos and just leave them in. I would cut 20 or 30 videos and I would leave them in a queue and I would just schedule them to drop, right? Like days or weeks later. I don't do that anymore. This last week, twice, I cut videos, right? They were done, not uploaded, never uploaded, right? Never made public, right? And because they were 16 hours old, they had to be thrown in the garbage because they were stale already, because the world had moved on and made the words I said meaningless in 16 hours. So I just wanted to encourage you to understand we live in a world that is absolute reciprocally it values the now. And what is old is utterly worthless, right? All that's of value today, and I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm saying what is. Let's not get confused, right? We don't we live in a world where good and evil exist, right? And there is a right way and there's a wrong way, but what I'm just talking value, and I'm saying right now, this world, if it's 5 minutes old, this world is like done with it, right? It just moves on because the pace of this world is so outrageously fast, right? And it just kind of shocks me, all right? So thanks for that digression there. So, and I also just to say real clear, like, I think, a lot of people are like, oh, Scott makes a lot of videos. You got no idea. So I want you to be, I do make a lot of videos. There's no two ways about that, right? But I do want you to know there are videos I cut, many videos I cut that never even make it to the channel, right? And also, I want you to be aware of this. I used to think I would run out of ideas of what to talk about. I have literally 200 to 300 topics just queued. My queue of topics to talk about Dungeons and Dragons is so long, right, that stuff just deprecates and gets pulled off the list, right? And it's incredible. I have far more ideas to talk about with Dungeons and Dragons than I even have time to talk about. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on, just a little bit inside baseball there. Thanks for your patience. Let's talk about Last Duel 2021. So, brilliant film. Incredibly well cast. Ben Affleck looks really strange in this film. He's blonde, and when you look at it, you're like, is that Ben Affleck? He looks thin, and he doesn't really look healthy. He just looks like he needs to eat a sandwich, and that something's very wrong with him. I think he's in this film because Matt Damon is his best bud, and was like, I need you to keep working so you literally don't die. Like, he just, I think there's something wrong with Ben Affleck, and I'm hoping he gets better. But I've followed his career for a long time, and he looks like a skeleton. And when I tell you somebody looks thin and unhealthy, you can find right on this channel. 3 months before he died, I was like, I have some concerns about the actor who plays Black Panther. It's, we live in a post-secret world. We really do. Like, a lot of people think you can keep secrets now. You can't, right? Or you live in a post-secret world, in my opinion. All right. So it's a brilliant, brilliant film. It's about a knight named the Knight Carouge. That his last name is Carouge, and he is a knight. Okay, and this is a historical film. It's like it takes place in somewhere in medieval Europe. Excuse me, and so it takes place somewhere in medieval Europe, and basically. And it is based on real. It has a thread of like this could actually happen. It's there's no magic in this. This is just a medieval European film, but it's very Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of like full plate armor combat in it, and if you're a dungeon master, you're gonna get a lot out of this, right? There's like a scene where Matt Damon beats a man to death by knocking him over, pulling and like some of his chainmail had been hacked off by like an axe, and he literally wraps his fist in the chainmail and beats this man to death, like right on screen, right? With this extra, and you're like, wow, he used the extra weight on his fist to just pulp that guy's skull in, right? Like, and it's interesting because we see combat every week, right? Like, I got a game on Sunday night. I see combat every single week in Dungeons and Dragons, and a lot of that is done with long swords and chainmail and full plate armor, and it's the exact same kind of combat. So there's definitely great content in here for Dungeon Master. So this is definitely worth your time, right? All right, so there's a knight named Carouge, and he's played by Matt Damon, and there's a squire named Legris, and he's played by Adam Driver. And what happens in this is Knight Carouge is sent out by the king again and again and again. I think he goes to Ireland, he goes to Germany, he goes to all these places in Europe, and he fights for the king, right? And while he's out there fighting, he sleeps. His head's on a rock for a pillow. He sleeps on the ground in the cold. He gets rained on, right? And he slays for the king, quite literally and quite figuratively. He just wrecks it. Like, he's a knight. He just knights it up, right? And that's Matt Damon's character, the Knight Carouge. And basically, Adam Driver's squire, he has a year of combat. He actually rides into battle with a sword, but his title is squire, and he never gets to the squire of knight, right? But he becomes the friend of a nobleman, not the king, like a prince, right? And he just attaches himself to this nobleman, and at that point, attached to this nobleman, he gets attached to this nobleman, and he begins to kind of just do his thing, and he is gifted a lot from this nobleman he's at. So here's this knight serving the king. He comes back, he gets a few gold coins, right? But this squire is gifted entire tracts of land. He's gifted gold antiquities that he can sell for quite a bit, right? And he does the administrative work of the kingdom, and he becomes rich and powerful and respected, right? Whereas this knight is barely making it, right? Barely has enough coin to keep his small manse, and really doesn't get respect, doesn't get pay, doesn't get land, and he's losing life compared to the squire, right? So basically, actually, as soon as he's a warrior and then he gets his knighthood. But there's this fascinating moment where he gets his knighthood and he says, I return a knight, right? And he's in front of the noble, who's Ben Affleck, and he's in front of Legreese, Squire Legreese, right? And Legreese says, well met, Carouge. We're so glad you're back. Matt Damon says, I've returned a knight. I am now a knight. He informs Legreese. He informs the noble, I am a knight, right? And then Legreese says, well, welcome back. We're so glad you're here. Tell us about your time, Carouge, right? And then, the talk goes on a little bit, and Legreese says, have some wine, have some food. You must be hungry after your travels, Carouge, right? And at that point, Matt Damon's knight slams his hand down, and he says, that's it. He says, you, Squire Legreese, you have more lands than me. You have more gold than me. You have more respect in this room than me. Just strips off all the artifice. And says, let's talk brass tacks, man. Let's talk real, right? You've won. You have everything. I have nothing. But you will call me sir. And you know why Knight Carouge said that? And Squire Legreese did call him sir? Because it was a matter of honor. Honor. It's a word we can explore in Dungeons & Dragons. I'm not sure it's a word we can explore in our real world anymore. I don't know if honor has any meaning to anyone in America anymore. I'm not positive, right? But I'm very excited that in Dungeons & Dragons, Gary Gygax set up the structure for us as men and women to look at this at the concept of honor and see what place it has in our lives, right? Because it's still here. It still matters, right? Even if people don't see it. The whole world now is filled with things that people can't see the value of, can't see the right path through, can't have empathy for, right? But we're called to a higher standard. Gary Gygax was a genius. We play a game that has 7,000 pages of content, 7,000 pages of canon, 7,000 pages of canon. You can go find another 100,000 pages of junk under the DM's Guild, right? And then if you're not paying attention, you can go find nonsense outside of Dungeons and Dragons. There's lots of it over there, right? But the reality is, Dungeons and Dragons calls us to a higher standard. It calls us to explore concepts that the world has forgotten, right? And this is beautifully illustrated in the film Last Duel 2021. Today I want you to think about honor. What honor are you owed? What honor do you owe to someone who should be honored by you? We're dungeon masters. We see the world in a different way, at a different level. We look deeper. Let's look at the word honor today. Thank you. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.